Hello and welcome. I'm excited to see you once again, on day 2 of our basic math and pre-algebra course. In this course, we're building a strong foundation for understanding math. Whether you're new to these concepts or just looking to brush up on your skills, you're in the right place. Okay, so remember on the day 1, we covered some essential addition, subtraction with borrowing from 0. And today we'll be diving deeper into two very important topics that you'll use in everyday math and beyond: multiplication and division. That would be the topic, the lesson for today. So these operations are the cornerstone of many math concepts, so it's crucial that we get comfortable with them. So don't worry about that. We'll take We'll take it step by step, and by the end of today's lesson or session, you'll have a solid understanding of both. Okay, so I have a message to you, student. One of the most important things you need to master in math is the multiplication table. This skill is absolutely crucial when it comes to tackling multiplication and division problems, especially as the numbers get larger and larger and larger. Having the multiplication table beside you or in front of you, or you memorize them, it means to say you can quickly recall any product without hesitations, because you memorize the multiplication table, so which will make both multiplication and division much easier and faster for you. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to practice your multiplication table until it becomes second nature to you. It's the foundation of many more advanced math concepts you'll encounter in the future, and mastering it will make everything else so much smoother and easier for you. Okay, so keep practicing, and soon it will feel like second nature to you. Believe it or not, you've got this. All right, so let's start with multiplication. So multiplication is a skill that forms the backbone of many other mathematical operations. Whether you're calculating a shopping bill, if you go to a grocery store and you want to calculate how much you spent, you need the multiplication. You need to multiply, or you need to add them. That would be depend on figuring out how much food you need for a party, for example, or just doing a general math. Multiplication is key for that. So we'll break it down into smaller steps, and you'll see just how manageable large multiplication problems can be. So first, let's refresh the basics. When we multiply two numbers, let me grab my pen. Okay, again, when we multiply two numbers, what we are really doing is adding one number multiple times based on the other number. For example, if we want to multiply by 4, let's say we want to multiply 3 by 4, so it means we are adding 3 4 times. So we want to multiply by 4. So how many 3 we need? 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 3 4 times, okay? We're adding 3 4 times. So when we add that, 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 3 is 9 plus 3 equals to 12. That is the final answer. That is the same thing with 3 times 4 equals 12. That is the same thing here. So but when we're dealing with larger numbers, it can take too long to do this. This is a tedious job to do it, adding multiple 3's. So it will take too long to add them repeatedly. So we use a more efficient method. In large number multiplication, in large number multiplication, one way to make it to make things easier, is by breaking up the numbers into smaller parts. Okay, so we have another example here. Instead of immediately, compute this 522 times 12 with cross multiplication, I'm going to give you another method to do this. So using a distributive property, it helps us break the multiplication of 522. This is going to be our first example here. 522 times 12 into manageable parts by distributing 12 into two parts, into 10 and 2, making the calculation simpler. Okay, so that is what we call it, a distributive property in simplest form. So what we're gonna do here is very simple. Let's write the 512 here. Sorry, 522, not 512. And let's multiply by 12, but we're not gonna write the 12. Instead of writing 12, we use a parenthesis because this is a distributive property. 10 plus 2. So this is the same thing. This is the same writing 522 times 12 because 10 plus 2 is 12 in its place value components. So now applying the distributive property is very simple. So this is equals to 522, okay, times 522 times 10, okay, plus, of course, 522 times 10, and then we add plus in between because we're going to add also 522, okay, 522 times 2. So this is going to be like that, okay, 522 times 10 plus 522 times 2, okay. So to break it down, it's very simple. Multiply the 522 times 10. So 522 times 10, this 522 times 10, and then 522 times 2. So we're going to get the answer here, 5,220. If you multiply that, 522 times 10, so the answer here is 5,220. And the other part, because we break it into two parts, 522 times 2, and this is going to be 1,044. Okay, so bring down the plus in between, so you add them up and you're going to get the final answer of 6,000. You already learned the addition problem in the previous lesson, day 1. So the answer here is 6,264. So that is our final answer. Okay, so this is another method of doing it. I know it looks like tedious. It looks like it's very long to do it, but I'm just giving you a different methods how to do the multiplication. Okay, so next I'm gonna erase this is to do the cross multiplication, which is very popular in multiplication. So I'm gonna erase this, and I cannot erase all. And let's do the multiplication. This is a cross multiplication. I'm going to multiply first the 2 times 2. Remember, this is from right to left. Okay? From right to left. So let's do this first. The ones here, multiply 2 times 2, and then 2 times 2, and then 2 times 5. After you do that, then you do the multiplication here. That's why it's a cross multiplication. 1 times 2, 1 times 2, 1 times 5. Okay, got it? So let's answer that. 2 times 2 in the ones columns, 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 times 2 in the tens column, is 4. And 2 times 5 in the hundreds column, that is 10, 1, 0. Then we do the other column, which is the tens place, the number 1 here in the tens column, 1 times 2, and you just align that where the tens column, you multiply the 1 times 2, and the number 1 is in the tens column, so you have to drop the number, okay, below this number 4. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 in the tens column is 2. Look at that, it's going up like a stair. I'm sorry, let's remove that. Is 2, and then 1 times 5, finally 1 times 5, that will give us 5 here in this, in front of this one. So let me rewrite that 1 here, over here, so they are properly aligned and we will not be confused. Okay, so bring down the 4, because actually there is a 0 here. We don't write the 0 there as a placeholder, so that is an imaginary, so nothing in there, it's an empty, so you have to bring down the 4. So this is now an addition. 4 plus 2 is 6. 0 plus 2, or 2 plus 0, it doesn't really matter, it's an addition, so the answer is 2. And 1 plus 5, or 5 plus 1 is 6. So this is your final answer. 6,264. So let's do the cross multiplication over here in the second problem. Sorry. 9 times 2 is 18. So you should know the multiplication table here. And carry over the 1 in the tens column. 9 times 0, watch for this. This is a 0. This is going to be 0. Any 0 that you multiply to any number, the answer is 0. So 9 times 0 is 0. Plus 1, bring down the 1. 9 times 2, okay, is 18. And then we do the cross multiplication after the ones column. Now the tens column, 4 times 2, 4 times 2, 8. It should be aligned properly. Where is the tens column is located? It is in the tens column, of course. 4 times 0, that's going to be 0. And we don't have a carryover there because the carryover is from 9, right? So 4 times 0 is 0. And 4 times 2, 8. And let's add them up. Bring down 8, nothing in there. 8 plus 1, 1 plus 8 equals 9. 8 plus 0, 8. 1 plus 8 is 9. The final answer is 9,898. And last problem is, in our multiplication, is 330 times 75. So this is a cross multiplication. We start with ones column, and then we move on to the tens columns. The first one is 5 times 0. It's going to be 0. And 5 times 3, which is equals to 15. And we cannot write 15 here because there is a next column, hundreds column, and you have to carry over the 1 there. So 5 times 3, 15, plus the carried over 1. So that's going to be, it gives us 16. 7 times 0 in the tens column, it is a cross multiplication. It's 0. 7 times 3 equals 21. Then we carry over the 2 here, over there. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 2, the carried over. So 21 plus 2, the answer is 23. And let's do the plus here. Okay, it's not perfect. That's okay. Bring down the 0. As always, 6 plus 1. Sorry, 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 plus 1 is 7. 1 plus 3 is 4. And bring down the 2. And we have the final answer, 24,750. All right, so great job. Great job with multiplication. Now you've learned the addition, subtraction, and multiplication. And let's switch gears here and talk about short division. Another essential skill that will help you with division problems, especially when the divisor is small. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you step by step here, carrying over remainders when necessary. I'm telling you, it is faster. What I mean to say, when we divide the numbers, I'm gonna teach you step by step with the carrying remainders when necessary. It is faster and more efficient way to handle division problems compared to a long division. And we will talk about the long divisions later in the next video. But I want you to understand this short division is a simplified version of long division, and it's perfect for dividing numbers by single digit divisors. As you can see on the screen, we have a single digit divisor for 3 and 6. Okay, so we divide one digit at a time and then keeping track of any remainders, and you will see that in a minute. So let's start with the simple short division example here. We'll divide 624 by 4. And first we're gonna start. Let me change the color of my pen here. We're gonna start with 6 here, and then we move on to number 2, the middle number, and 4. We have to divide this 624, the bigger number, with the smaller number by 4. Okay, so first write the 6 here, bring it down, and then divided by 4. And how many 4 goes into 6? One time. And we know that because it's only one time. And the remainder would be 2. So this is your remainder. It's very important to write the remainder because we have to bring it down here. Bring it over here, and then the next number is 2, the middle number of 600 from 624. Bring down that 2 over here and divided by 4. And how many 4 goes into 22? So we can use our multiplication skills. That's why it's very important to understand the multiplication table, because that is the inverse of division as well as multiplication. Okay, so 22 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, the answer is 5. So because 5 in multiplication, 5 times 4 equals 20, and the remainder here is 2. Bring down the remainder here, and then the next number is 4 after 2. We have now 24 divided by 4, and how many times 4 goes into 24? How many times 4 fit into 24? The answer is 6. Okay, so 6, right? And we don't have any remainder here. That is, the remainder is 0. Okay, remainder is 0. So the final answer would be 624 divided by 4 is equals, which is equals 1, 5, 6. Easy, right? Easy peasy. The final answer is 156. Now let's move on to the next problem. We're dividing 963 here, divided by 3. Okay, let me switch the color of my pen because it was red. So 9, bring down the 9 here. Remember, we are dividing this larger number by 3. So divided by 3, and we know the multiplication. In multiplication, 3 times 3 equals 9. So we know the answer is 3. How many times 3 goes into 9? 3 times. And what is the remainder? No remainder. The 0. 0 remainder. And we don't write the 0 here. That is truncated. So we know there is a placeholder here, 0. But instead of writing that, just bring down the 6 over here. 6 divided by 3, because that is your divisor, 3 equals how many times 3 goes into 6? 2 times. Is there any remainder? Yes, remainder 0. Okay, so the next is, because it is remainder 0, we don't have to write the remainder 0 here, because you know the rules is whatever remainder here left over, you have to write it first before the number. Okay, the next number here from the 963 is 3, so I have to write down the 3 divided by 3, because that is the divisor, and we get the final answer 1. There is a remainder. Yes, remainder is 0. And the final answer here would be, that gives us 963 divided by 3 equals, you know now what is the answer, right? You can see that on your screen. 3, that is the answer, 2, and 1. So right here, 3, 2, 1. That is the final answer for this particular problem. And the last problem that we're gonna solve is we're dividing 850 by 6. Okay, so the first thing that you're gonna do here is very simple. The same thing that we did before is bring down the 8. Let's bring down the 8 and divided by 6, because that is our divisor. And how many times this 6 goes into 8? 1 time. 1 time only, and we have a remainder of 2, because 6 plus 2 is 8, right? And because we have a remainder here, you have to bring it down the remainder first before the next number 5, the middle number from 850. So we have now a number of 25 divided by 6. And how many times 6 goes into 25? The answer is 4 times, because we know from the multiplication, we know in the multiplication 6 times 6 is 36. We know 5 times 6 or 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so 5 times 4 is 20. So the answer is 4. Okay. What is the remainder? The remainder here is 1. Let me write properly. Okay. So 6 times 4, 6, 12, 18, 24. Because we have 25 here, then the remainder would be 1. Then bring down the 1 here. As I've said, 1. And then the last number here from 850 is 0. Okay, we have 0 divided by 6. And we know it goes only 1 time. It fits into 10 1 time only. And we have a remainder of 4. Okay, we can now write the answer here, the final answer, 850 divided by 6. We're gonna get the final answer of 1, 4, 1. The final answer is 1, 4, 1 with remainder 4. Okay, so remember, the key to mastering these operations is practice. The more you work with multiplication and division, the easier they'll become. So thank you so much for joining me today on our day 2 of our basic math and pre-algebra course. Keep practicing the techniques we've covered here, and soon you'll be able to tackle even bigger problems with ease. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or in the next lesson. Happy learning.